All right, let's get started.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kara Dow, Director of Operations for Breakbulk Events and Media. I'd like to welcome you to Breakbulk America's first exhibitor training webinar on increasing brand awareness and driving booth traffic. Breakbulk has chosen to invest in your education and trade show knowledge by providing you this online workshop. By participating today, you are taking the right steps towards ensuring your investment at Breakbulk pays off. If you have not already, please check out the Exhibitor Success Training Center on our Breakbulk America's website. In your Success Center, you will find live and replayable webinars, how-to exhibiting articles, measurable tools, and access to trade show expert Q&A services. There's a direct correlation between exhibitors who use these tools and their ROI at events. Thank you for your time, commitment, and partnership with Breakbulk. I'm always here should you have any questions. Now I will hand over this program to our consultant, speaker, trainer, and author, Jefferson Davis from Competitive Edge. His credentials and contact details are on your screen. Welcome, Jefferson.
Thank you, Kara, and thank you again for everybody who have logged in. You know, like most of you here today, I've exhibited at over 200 shows in my career, and I got to be honest, I always felt like the only time I heard from the show organizer was when they wanted to sell me something, or they wanted a check, or they sent me that big service kit telling me all that stuff that I had to do and wasn't very excited about doing. So how cool is it to be exhibiting with and partnering with a great organization and a great show team like Breakbulk Americas, who really cares enough about us as exhibitors to not just rent us concrete and hope it all works out, but to actually provide us content and a blueprint and a game plan on how to make sure it works out. So welcome. We're excited to have you here. My background's pretty simple. I always tease people. I say, I don't know much, but I do know shows. I've over 30 years of being in shows. I'm as much a student as I am a practitioner, consultant, trainer, and author. And for me, the trade show was never the place to just show up and fly the company flag and scan some badges and hand out some tchotchkes and go home. I was always in a position where I had to make every dollar do the work of 10. So what I've been on the hunt for over 30 years and 26 years as a consultant trainer is, what are the critical success factors that make the difference between making an expensive appearance where we show up again and leave the money on the floor, or making a productive, profitable investment. And I think I found some of the answers. And I can say that not just because of my own results, but of the clients where we've done tracking now. We've been able to generate almost $800 million in results from shows. So I'm going to share with you the best that I've learned over these years, and I am 100% accessible to you through the Breakbulk Exhibitor Success Center. You can reach me through the Ask the Trade Show Experts, and I'm also available for a complimentary teleconsultation at no charge, courtesy of Breakbulk, if any of you want or need that. So let's get started here. Okay, I'm dreaming, visioning, imagining that every one of you on this webinar today are exhibiting at Breakbulk Americas because you're trying to grow your business, right? And so that'll start us off with, at a high level, this topic of what really drives business growth for a company. Well, Peter Drucker is one of North America's foremost business gurus, and Mr. Drucker said it very eloquently. He said there's only two things that drive growth and revenue. Number one is marketing. So we're going to talk about marketing, specifically trade show marketing today. And number two, he said, innovation. And we're going to talk about how to bring some innovation to your trade show marketing. He said, everything else is an expense. You know, in all my years working with companies, you know, I find that a lot of companies are product focused versus marketing focused. And sharpening your marketing saw and applying it in the trade show environment can have explosive payoff for us as companies. So that's what we want to talk about today. So Another one of my favorite gurus, I've studied this gentleman for 20 plus years, Jim Rohn, really nailed it. He said, what are the keys to marketing success? What makes great marketing? He said, well, number one, he said, you got to have something good to say. You know, it's one thing to market. It's another thing to market well. So we're going to work today a little bit on finding your voice and helping you find your value proposition. Okay, and then next, you have to say it well. The way you articulate your marketing message will determine whether they see it, whether they engage with it, or whether they just delete the email or whatever you're doing and flip right on by. So have something good to say it well, and say it often. Once is never enough, not in today's over-communicated marketing society. And I'm going to add to Jim's most excellent statement here by saying through multiple media, multiple channels. So that'll lead me to a question for you. I want you to look on the screen right now, and you'll see a infographic which kind of outlines an integrated marketing strategy. What I'd like each of you to do dialed into this webinar today is put a circle or a check mark by how many media you typically use to market your participation at trade shows. Go ahead and do that right now, and that's going to lead me to my first poll of the afternoon. Here we go. How many media do you typically use to market your participation? The poll is live. Look on the screen. I want you to pick one of those numbers that applies, press the radio dial button, and I'm going to show the results of this in a moment. I think it's important we take a look. How many media do you use to market? I'll give you just a moment. And I'm looking for 80% plus participation in this poll. So we're at about 60% right now. If you haven't polled yet, fastest fingers. Look at the number, click one of those right now. I'll give you just another moment at 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're at that 80% point. I want to share this with you. I want you to take a look. So 7% of us are in that we don't do any pre-marketing. 7% of us are in we do more than 7 things. The majority of the audience on today's webinar are in the 3 to 6 range. So I'm glad to hear that 93% of you are doing something. You know, and that raises a question. You know, the question is, how many marketing media should I use? My thought, as many as your time, your skill set, and your budget allows. The more, the merrier. The more media you show up in, the higher the number of impressions, the higher the response rate. So ideally, as many as you can, right? So let's keep on rocking here. Thanks for participating in that poll too. I really appreciate it. So while we're on the topic of generating, really making trade shows pay off, if we're going to get value, maximum value, and if we're going to generate return on investment, we've got to spend more time on the critical success factors. The problem with exhibiting, what I've seen over 26 years as a consultant trainer, is that most companies are caught in what I call the logistics trap. What I mean by that is they spend 95% of their pre-show time on this. Get the space, get the booth, get the graphics, get the products, ship it, set up the hotel, the air, fly everybody in, set it up, tear it down, send it home, do all that on time and on budget. And they call that pre-show planning. I don't call that pre-show planning. I call it dealing with logistics. Now the problem is you got to do that, right? You got to take care of all that stuff. But here's the thing. If you spend 95% of your pre-show time in logistics and operations, the only thing that it's going to guarantee is that your booth, your products, and your people show up. It's not going to guarantee that you get anything from the big investment of time and human capital. So where do we focus? Well, Let's talk critical success factors here. Number one, Stephen Covey's most excellent book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Know your outcomes. Focus is power. Clarity is power. Knowing your outcomes is power. So what we want to do is set down and define what success looks like in the area of marketing, in the area of sales, in the area of customer relationship management. And we want to create written goals. Don't just think it, ink it, okay? Write it. And now today, obviously, with computers and everything else, you can do it on that, but don't just have it in your head, right? And then create a written action plan, communicate it, execute, and measure. Only 1 out of 4 exhibitors go into trade shows with clearly defined goals that are backed up with written action plans. If you want to throw your company into the top 24% of exhibitors, start here, all right? Define your outcomes. Next, selective attraction, which is the primary focus of today's webinar. Not everybody that attends Breakbulk Americas is your ideal customer. Furthermore, you can't even handle everybody that attends. So what you got to do as an exhibitor is you got to define who is your ideal visitor, number 1. Number 2, you got to calculate how much is enough, which we're going to do in this webinar. Then you got to craft that value proposition, and then you got to deliver it to as many channels as you can to get in the mind and on the agenda of enough of the right people. This is also what I call winning the game before kickoff, selective attraction. And that's what we're going to deal with today. But you've got to deal with number 3 too. You have to manage the visitor experience, which really encompasses your booth, the look, the graphics, the messaging, the display, the ease of entry, the ease of access, the ease of exit, and then your product or service presentation and demonstration, and then your staff. And you've got to synchronize these 3 elements so you attract and you deliver a high quality visitor experience. Trade shows are experiential that secures a commitment to the next action with qualified visitors. And finally, number 4, if you're not signing contracts on the show floor and you ever hope to get real financial return on investment, you've got to understand that the real product is leads. Here's how I say it. If ROI is the name of the game, lead management is the playbook. So you have to define what your visitor qualifying process is. You have to customize your capture device and train your staff on how to engage and guide the conversation. And then you got to get the visitor to collaborate and commit to a next step. And then you got to follow through and make sure that next step happens. Finally, you got to measure how well you executed your exhibit, measure the value you received, measure the ultimate return on investment. Now here's the thing. If you do these 4 things well, you will not only win at Breakbulk Americas, you'll win at every show you do. Here's the warning. If you neglect any one or any combination of these 4 factors, you're going to limit your results. So that brings us to a major question that I want each of you to answer right now in your workbook. I want you to score your company's process in these 4 areas on a 1 to 5. A 5, very effective. A 1, ineffective. So take a look at these 4 factors and score them on a 1 to 5. And by the way, a 4 would be effective. A 3 would be somewhat effective. A 2 would be somewhat ineffective, and a 1 would be effective. So score yourself on a 1 to 5 on these 4 factors. And any factor that you scored a 4 or below will be the limiting factor that limits your ability to get maximum value. And I think it is one of our gurus here in North America called Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil says, you can't fix what you don't acknowledge. So acknowledgement is the first step toward fixing. So these 4 factors. So you've kind of done a self-assessment here, and I would love to see right now go to your question queue, each of you on the webinar today, and type in the number or numbers of the factors that you feel are most limiting your results. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I would love to see some of those. Go ahead and do that now. All right, so while you're doing that, I'm going to move forward. So, we're talking about selective attraction. We're talking about the importance of pre-marketing your exhibit. Well, here's one of the big reasons why we're talking about that, because attendee behaviors have changed over the last several years, and most exhibitors are not aware of these changes, nor have they adapted their exhibiting strategies. Okay, let's talk about these changes. Number 1, they're registering closer to the event. Number 2, they're spending fewer number of total days at the event. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't value events. In fact, they value them as much, if not more, than ever before. But like you, me, and everybody else, they're under more time pressure. So they don't have as much time to spend away from the operation as they used to. They're spending fewer number of days. They're looking for content. They want to walk into that exhibit hall and walk into your booth and learn something that they can take back, right? It's useful, it's applicable, it's going to help them improve their business operation or solve a problem or seize an opportunity. And they're looking to you, the exhibitor, to bring that information to them. Number 4, here's a big one. These next few are going to be really important here. Listen carefully. 3 out of 4 attendees are arriving with an agenda. They know what educational sessions they're going to attend. They know what social events they're going to go to. They know where their blocks of time in the exhibit hall are. They have a list of exhibitors they want to visit. They've got questions. They've got problems they're looking for answers for. They got projects that they're looking for sourcing for. They're arriving with an agenda. And listen to this next one. Now, this is not a Breakbulk specific number. This is North American business-to-business average trade show. They'll only stop and cross the carpet line of 26 to 31 exhibits on average. And half of those stops are pre-planned. Now, I want you to think about what I just shared here. This is some pretty eye-opening content here. In spite of this, less than 20% of exhibitors execute a well-designed pre-show marketing campaign. 80% of exhibitors do what I call exhibit by hope. They rent space, show up, and they hope. They hope enough attendees come to the show. They hope they get in the exhibit hall. They hope they pass their booth. They hope something in the booth grabs their attention and makes them want to stop. Exhibiting by hope is a very dicey and dangerous strategy. I would much rather exhibit by objectives and use the principle of selective attraction, which is what we're talking about here today. All right. So how do you do all this stuff, okay? This webinar could literally be a half day. In fact, this could be a whole day, but we've only got a short period of time. So I'm going to overview for you this 8-step process that we've been developing, refining, and using with clients for the last 26 years that has helped drive almost $800 million in value and results. So let's go to step 1. Why are you exhibiting? In your workbook right now, I want you to jot down your top 3 reasons why you're exhibiting. You will see some of the most popular reasons on the screen right now. And then once you jot those top 3 down, I want you to put them in order of priority. 1, 2, 3. After the webinar, I want you to go to the Exhibitor Success Center. We've got an article there called Planning to Win. Download the article, get your team together, and convert your reasons to goals and written action plans. Begin with the end in mind, step 1. Number 2, create your ideal visitor profile. So who is it that you need to see knowing that you have a limited amount of capacity for interaction and that not everybody's your ideal visitor. So start off by sector. And I want you to go through and again, check the most important sectors for your company. Then I want you to think about job functions and cast a wide net here. Too often people go, well, I only want to get to financial management. Well, there's users, there's influencers, there's specifiers, there's recommenders, there's decision makers. So I want you to identify all of the job functions that your services or products touch and put a check mark in your workbook. Next, geographical location. Okay, you'll notice Breakbulk America has attracted 72 countries. And some of you are very focused on who you're looking for by location. So again, put down what locations are most important to you. And when you've done that, you have what we call an ideal visitor profile. We're going to talk about what to do with that going forward. Okay, now, here's another strategy I want to share with you, and this one has made a massive difference for my clients. I call it the CPS triangle. You're going to really go after people that you already, for the most part, have relationships with. Start with your customers. Never go into a key show like Breakbulk America's without reaching out and touching your customers who either have attended, are likely to attend, will attend, or are within geographical striking distance of Houston. You can see on the screen there's 4 different objectives you can set for your customer interactions. Relationship management, probing for additional opportunity, keeping the ears to the ground for change, advocacy. I have this in red because never go into a key show. This is when the competition will be knocking on your customers' doors very hard. Do not lose by default or absence. Second group, green, prospects. You are already in the sales pipeline with them. You have one major objective, to advance them to the next step in the sales cycle. This is where the low-hanging fruit, this is where the quick return on investment is hiding, right here. And the third group is your profile match, which you just did. And you have one objective, open the door, put a face with a face, build rapport, get a meeting of the minds, get a clear next step identified. If you will work the show with a balanced approach of customer prospect profile matches, you will be on your way. So how do you put this into action? Go to your sales, dealer, distributor teams. Ask them to build a specific list with X number of names, customer, prospect, suspect. Next, set a specific outcome or agenda or purpose for the meeting. Next, touch them 3 times before now and when you arrive in October in Houston. And it seems to work best when you use multiple media like telephone, email, social media, in person. And you already have all this data anyway. These are your customers. These are your prospects. What you're going for is either a confirmed appointment or a verbal commitment. And if you really want to get your sales, dealer, distributor team to play the game, put a contest in play. The person that gets the highest percentage of their CPS list to the booth wins X. Okay. Let's talk about lists here. We're still in step 2 under this defining your profile. So we created a profile. We've talked about CPS. Now we got to talk about lists. Your company database. Previous show, maybe you did this show last year. You've done other shows where you have lists. Anybody who's inquired into your company, if you work through dealer distributors or channels, trade publication readership lists are all excellent sources of lists. What I want you to identify is what list sources are you going to use, okay? That's a big part of step 2. Now let's go to step 3 here. We're working through this 8-step process very fast. Trade shows are about face and next. You have a finite or a limited amount of capacity. I'm going to have you calculate it right now. Do this with me. Breakbulk Americas has 17 hours. That's your playing field. How many people are you going to have in your booth on average for those 17 hours? Write it in your workbook right now. If you're in a 10 by 10, you got room for 2, maybe 3. Don't put too many people. Don't have just 1 either. Multiply it and you have your staff hours. That is your capacity per interaction. Now, listen carefully. I want you to pick a number between 3 and 5. 3 is conservative, 4 is moderate, 5 is aggressive. This is your target number of interactions per hour per staffer. Pick one of those numbers, and you have your exhibit interaction capacity. So if I'm playing the game conservatively, I have the capacity for 102 interactions in my booth. If I'm playing it aggressively, I have the capacity for 170. Key big idea here. Try to make your list count 3 to 5 times larger than your exhibit interaction capacity. Breakbulk America's had 5,500 plus attendees. You're starting to see here, it's not that hard to win if you've got a good game plan. For you to win, in this example, if you're playing it aggressively, you only need to attract and interact with 170 of the right people. Who are the right people? What are you going to do between now and when you arrive to be in their mind, on their agenda? That's what we're talking about here. Okay, I know I'm covering a lot of content fast here, and I'm sure that questions are going to bubble up in your mind. So the moment that question comes up in your mind, go to your question queue, type your question, press send. I'll stop at the halfway point and at the end of the webinar and make sure we answer all questions. Now, this will also set a goal for you, okay? So if I'm playing the game for 170, here's my goal. Identify and attract at least 170 of who? My ideal visitor profile and my customer prospects. That's a hard goal. If I can get confirmed appointments and verbal commitments that utilize my exhibit interaction capacity before I get to the show, I've literally won the game before kickoff. That is a tremendous feeling. If you've never had it before, when you do this, it's going to blow your mind. Every client I work with who does this, it immediately changes the exhibit experience in one show. Okay, so let's go to our next poll here. Now, I'm curious, what percentage of your total exhibit budget, what percentage do you allocate to promoting your exhibit or driving traffic? The poll is live on the screen now. You have 5 choices: 0, none; 1 to 5, 6 to 9, 10 to 14, 15% plus. Fastest fingers, pick one of those numbers that applies to your situation. All right, we're at about 70%. Again, I want to be over 80 here, so if you haven't polled yet, if you're looking at your email, if you're getting distracted, come back with me. I promise you this is valuable time. All right, we are up near 80%. For the sake of time, I am going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to share the poll. I think it's important that you see what your colleagues are doing. Well, 14% of you are allocating nothing. 29% of you are in the 1 to 5 range. 7% of you are in the 15% plus range. So that raises a great question, right? How much should we be allocating? Well, rather than tell you, I'm just going to show you the actual research from the Center for Exhibition Industry Research. The average exhibitor allocates 13% of their total show budget to promoting their participation. 13%. So here's a rule that I learned many years ago, which has helped me not only succeed in business, but also blow my competition away. If you want to succeed, find out what the average is doing and do better than that. The average is only allocating 13% of their show budget. Let's go to our next best practice. Budget enough resources. I want you to jot down your total show investment. And by the way, the budgeting rule of thumb minimally is floor space times 3. So in this example, floor space times 3, my total show budget, I'm a small exhibitor in a 10 by 10, $12,300. I need to earmark 15% of that to promoting my participation. Therefore, I should be allocating at least $1,800 to marketing and promoting my participation. And there are times when I will go more than that. Big show, little booth, not too crazy about where I'm located. The importance of the show, it's a dead ringer match for me. The match of the attendees, this is my tribe. In those scenarios, I might go 20 to 25%. So I want you to do this exercise now. Write down your total show budget, multiply it by at least 0.15, come up with that number. And here's the thing. Many of you are probably saying, hey, Jefferson, I hear you, my boss. Well, the first thing I want you to do is go back and show your boss this chart. I can make a very accurate promise and a very accurate warning. Here's the promise. If you do get enough of the right people to your booth, all of these areas will end up as an investment position to deliver ROI. Warning, if you don't get enough of the right people to your booth, I can make a very accurate prediction. All of these areas will end up as an expense. Show your boss the chart and ask him or her, do we want to make an expensive appearance or do we want to make a productive, profitable investment? And also show your boss the changing attendee behavior slides, specifically the one where the average attendee is only stopping at 26 to 31 booths. Half of their stops are pre-planned. In my 26 years experience, the single biggest factor limiting most exhibitors' results is their inability to get enough of the right people to their booth. Don't let that happen to you. You're on this webinar today. You have a choice, and you've got a game plan here. So let's keep rocking. We're halfway through our 4 steps. All right? Now, remember one thing earlier? We said have something good to say and say it well and say it often. Well, let's talk about that. Okay, step 5. To grab attention at trade shows, the top 3 are excellent strategies. New. If you want to grab people's attention, if there's anything new about your company, your product, your service, your solution, promote it. The #1 reason attendees hit the exhibit hall to see what and who is new. New is a magnet. Second, problematic. You know, your customers are having problems. That's why you're in business, to help them solve their problems. If you can get clear on what problem or problems they're likely to be facing, dangle that problem in your marketing, it'll demand attention. #3, learn. It's one of the top 3 reasons they come to shows, to learn. What can you teach them in 3 to 5 minutes in your booth? They notice things that are familiar. They notice things that are unusual. So here's the major question beyond do you have something new? Get your team together and ask, what situations might be happening in my customers' operations that would prompt them to think about what I offer? If you find your answers to this question, then integrate them into your pre-show marketing. Your subject lines, your headlines, your imagery, your ads, your social media posts, your exhibit graphics, your exhibitor listing, right? So have something good to say. Use one or more of the combinations of the attention grabbers, right? And integrate them into, okay? Here's what the value proposition framework looks like. Problem-based. Hey, tired of this? Worried about that? Struggling with this? If you dangle something that's relevant to me, I'm going to notice it. If it's important to me, I'm going to engage. Find the problem. Don't sell the product, sell the problem, right? There's an old saying, people don't buy 3/4 inch drill bits. They buy 3/4 inch holes. What's the hole? Second, opportunity. Interested in, curious about, want to learn about, want to know more about. You can use one or both of these. Give us 5 minutes at Breakbulk Americas, booth 123. See, do, learn. Oh, by the way, you'll get something cool for stopping by. That's the value proposition. And I promise you, if you narrow down your market to your profile and you find your value proposition and you deliver it through multiple channels, you will have a busy booth full of interested, qualified prospects. Okay, that's step 5. Step 6, we got to put all this together. We got to put it into action. So now we've got so much media that we can use, and you know, most of us don't have the time or the budget or the bandwidth to use it all. So we got to kind of go sift through all this and analyze what media, and we got to select what media we use. So I want to share some high-level keys, C's, not keys, C's to success. Number 1, consistency through your design theme and your messaging. Stay consistent. Number 2, a combination of media. People all, you know, the major question I get as a trade show consultant and trainer and expert is, Jefferson, what is the single best media for marketing my booth? And my answer is crystal clear. There is no single best. The magic is in the mix. Different people respond to different things. I don't know what individual media any one individual person is going to respond to. Use a combination of show-specific media, industry-specific media, and direct from your company, direct to your target media. Next, communication. Remember, the job of your pre-marketing is not to tell the whole story. The job is to do what? Grab attention, build interest, and make the visit to the show and the visit to your booth, right? To make that. That's what this is about. You only got to deliver 4 messages. What you do, why they should care, big emphasis on why they should care, who you are, where, and how to find you. And then finally, 3 touches. There's magic in 3. If you can get them to touch or engage with your content 3 times leading up to showtime, the response rate will be high. Okay, so those are some of the keys. Now, we're back to our chart here. Okay, when you think about all these choices, what they really boil down is into buckets or baskets, if you will. So you've got print and display advertising. So this would be show-specific media. It would be industry-specific media, trade publications, the official show program directory, stuff like that. Then PR, advertising you pay for, PR you pray for, and the magic is in the mix. So you want to think about press and news releases, maybe putting a press kit together, posting news, sharing news with the Breakbulk team to help them post it for you. PR, right? Number 3, digital and electronic media, and that comes from email, the internet, websites, social media, the mobile app, all the different things you can be doing electronically. And then here's the one that everybody's forgotten about, mail. Here's my phrase on mail: be where the competition isn't. You know where the competition is. The competition's in the email box. The competition isn't in the mailbox anymore. What a great time to go back there. Whether you're doing oversized postcards, or whether you're doing personal letters of invitations, or whether you're doing more formal type invitations, get back in the mailbox for shows. I'm telling you, it works. Nobody's doing it. Reason enough. Be like Warren Buffett, right? When everybody's, selling their stocks, what's he doing? Buying. When everybody's buying stocks, what's Warren Buffett doing? Selling, right? He kind of gets that. And personal contact. So ideally, as you create an integrated campaign, you will have something going in all 5 of these areas. All right. Now, there are some low-cost, high-impact options that I want to quickly hit and get you think about adding to your campaign. The ability today to do short-run personalized mailers with digital printing. I mean, short-run, you could do 58 postcards and drop their company name, their individual name. You could set up landing pages or microsites that have needs assessments and the ability to set appointments. A personalized URL that has the person's name in the URL and integrating that into all of your content. Video email, the ability to use YouTube and create short teaser videos and drop those links into emails. Priceless. Voice messaging, the ability to record and land in people's voicemail boxes. Not robocalling, voice messaging. Social media, of course, right? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, whatever. The key thing on social media is to figure out what channels your audience is paying attention to. And content delivered through blogs. Maybe you guys blog. Maybe there are subject matter experts where you can kind of tie into. So think about these different media as you put your plan together. Okay, now what I want to do is, again, we're not here to sell you anything today, but we think it's really important that you at least have a quick sense of what's available. So I'm going to bring Alec on. Alec Monson's coming on from Breakbulk just to give you a quick hit on some of the free and low-cost exhibitor marketing ops. Alec?
Hi there. Thanks, Jefferson. My name's Alec. I'm the marketing coordinator over here, and I can help all of our exhibitors with our free marketing opportunities. So please feel free to email me or call me if you want to get any more information about what some of these options are. I can definitely help you there. I'm just going to review a few of them, so reach out to me if you'd like to know more. One that can be very useful to you is our event guide. The number one right there talks about our online exhibitor listing. We are doing a digital event guide this year, so there's going to be nothing printed. It's all going to be online. And this is where you can put your company contact information, your website link, and also have it says there a 100-word company profile. It's just a company description about what you guys do best. And so please keep in mind that this is what the attendees to the show will be able to see on your company. So you can also upload a company photos and company logo as well to make it look the way you would like. And this gives you coverage months before and also during the show. So we highly recommend that you can go on. If you have not already been able to claim and edit your listing, please do so this week or next week at the latest. And if you need any help with that, you can also reach out to me. My email's at the bottom. So that's the event guide. But we also have below, there's the personalized email banner. We also have number 3 and 4 are customized invitations that we make for our exhibitors. So there it says there's a 25% discount with a company code that each exhibitor receives. And so we also make the 5 free passes if any exhibitor, large or small, asks for them. We're just trying to help our exhibitors have more customers and more people at the show to come visit them at their booth. So if you're interested in using those, please let me know. To give you another thing that we are doing that's not actually here on this slide, we are doing a social wall, which is we're just trying to help take advantage of all of our social media channels. So if any of our exhibitors are using Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, if you use the hashtag BBAM2017, that is hashtag BBAM2017, anything that you post will automatically be loaded onto our social wall that is included on our Exhibitor Marketing Center page and also on the event guide. So it's a great chance to get a lot of attention and build yourself up on the social media wall. And this social wall will also be displayed on a large screen TV in Houston with a real-time feed. So it's a great chance to have a lot of your company news and what you guys are doing out there for everybody to see. And that leads me to our number 5 option here, where you can submit company news. If any of our exhibitors have a press release, or it could be something as simple as a photo or video with a job description, if you send that over to us, we would be happy to post that for you on breakbulk.com, Twitter, and also Facebook, and LinkedIn, just to give you more attention online in general. So these are just a few of the free marketing options that are available to our exhibitors. There's a few others there as well that you can take advantage of at the show. And if you'd be interested in using them, please give me a call or email me. My contact information is at the bottom. Thanks, Jefferson.
All right, Kathleen, take it away.
Hi there. I'm Kathleen. I'm the exhibition sales manager for Breakbulk Americas. I lost you for a minute there, so I hope you can hear me okay. I would like to talk about some of the paid show sponsorship opportunities. Sponsorships are a great way to develop a broader footprint on the show floor during the event, and I've listed a few here. We do have platinum, gold, and silver medal sponsorships available. The medal sponsors are great because you are included in a lot of the marketing that goes out for the event. That will include any of our marketing emails, such as the daily exhibitor emails that go out throughout the event. You would be included on all of the signage. There are some perks for some of these, such as bag inserts, extra passes, floor clings, things like that. And I've listed a few more, the catering area, coffee breaks, column wraps, and floor clings. Your bag inserts, which is a great for attendees. Fun on the floor is also a great way to promote anything that you're doing at your booth. So if you have a giveaway or you have a special cocktail or anything like that, the fun on the floor is actually only $250, so it's a very great way to promote this. We do place it on our website and promote it through all social media outlets. And we can also create any custom sponsorship. So we talked about identifying your ideal visitor. If you have specific needs for getting in front of that ideal visitor, please give me a call. I'd love to chat with you about creating a custom sponsorship and how we can figure out how to do that and help you get in front of those people. Another sponsorship that is now new that we have available that is not on this list is our Breakbulk on the Avenida. It is our exciting new end-of-event party, and it's right outside the Expo Center. It's in a new space that was built recently during the Super Bowl. We will have food and drinks out there. It's going to be a really fun party after the show, and we do have 5 exclusive opportunities for sponsorship around that party. So, and if you need anything, have any questions, please give me a call. My number's at the bottom, or my email. I'm always available.
All right. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, so for everybody listening, here's the big idea. Think about your goals, define them, define your target audience, really come up with your messaging, your content, and define your marketing budget, and pick up the phone and call Kathleen and Alec. They're super sharp, super friendly. They don't bite. They're here for one purpose, to help you achieve your goals. So, the more you'll share and engage, the more they can do to help you succeed. So make sure to reach out to them after the webinar and talk about what your goals are, who your audience is, what you're already planning on doing, and see if there's something they can do to help you take it even higher. I'm going to flash the Q&A slide for a moment. This is a great chance to catch our breath here. We're in the wind down. We only have 2 steps to go. We're going to be done on time, it looks like. I want everybody online to stop and think about what's flashed in your mind. What's a burning question that you have about this topic of marketing your company, your participation? Type your question in, press send, and I'm going to go back into the content, and then I'll come right back at the end of the webinar before we close, and I'm going to address all questions. And please remember this, there's no such thing as a dumb question, except maybe the one that you need to ask, you want to ask, but you don't ask. All right, so here we go. Let's put it all together. The first 6 steps were foundational setup steps. What does a campaign look like in action? Well, Alec and Kathleen and myself got together, and we created 2 scenarios here. And we said, what would a campaign look like for a small exhibitor in a 10 by 10 who is, investing about $4,100 in floor space, using the 3 to 5 times budget? They're going to be at $12,000 to $20,000. They're going to pull 15% of that aside to promote. They have 2 goals. They want to really build their visibility in the market. They want to drive booth traffic to generate leads that ultimately convert to sales. So what would that look like? Well, they would start with the CPS strategy, customer, prospect, suspect. They would have their business development, their sales, their dealer distributors. They would be integrating the complementary codes, the reg codes, 25% off into the campaign. Next, they would do a really well-designed, oversized postcard and mail it to their house list. Next, they would really be thinking about what's newsworthy and they would be putting together a news or press release, and they would be sending that to Breakbulk Americas for distribution and promotion. Next, they would be drilling down their profile, and they would be working with Breakbulk to do a targeted attendee e-blast, giving a very specific reason. Remember our value proposition we worked on a few slides ago? The fun on the show floor thing is a no-brainer for a small booth. It's only $250. It would absolutely fit into this campaign. Your exhibitor listing, please give this very, very careful thought. Most companies, it looks like they copy their description off of a mission statement or a website. Sometimes I can pull up 5 companies' listings, and they all sound, if I change the company name, they sound the same. So really work on your listing. They would be promoting their participation in social media channels and using the BBAM17 hashtag. And finally, they would be integrating the show logo and the booth promotional on their website, into their email signatures, if you do newsletters, social media, and outgoing. And that would be an excellent example of what an integrated campaign looks like for a small exhibitor, and using multiple media to make sure they build the awareness and drive booth traffic. Next, we said, okay, you're a larger booth. You're in a 20 by 20. So you've got about 16,500 into floor space. You're going to multiply that by 3 to 5, putting you in the $49,000 to $82,000 range total budget. You're going to pull 15% of that aside, earmark it for what? Promoting, like we talked about. You have similar goals in terms of brand visibility and driving traffic, but you've got a new product you want to showcase, and you really want to have that position of thought leadership. So you would do similar things as the smaller exhibitor here in this basic game plan. Then you would be adding things. Instead of maybe doing the postcards, you would do a higher level, more formal invitation to your CPS list, using those 5 free passes very strategically and integrating the 25% off code. Because you want thought leadership and you want to link to education, you would be sponsoring either a conference session or a panelist group. Because you got a new product and you want that thought leadership, you would be joining the tech zone. Finally, you would be doing an insert in the show bag to spotlight your new product and promote your tech zone. So that would be a great example of, for a small exhibitor in a 10 by 10 with a small budget, and a medium exhibit. Now, what does an integrated campaign look like in action? Well, I want to show you one just to highlight some of the key principles we've talked about today. Okay, so if you're doing print in trade publications or show dailies or any form of print, well, here you go. Large, colorful, strong headline, clear call to action, right? Bring it to life. Visit us at booth number very quickly evident. Next, mailer, doing a oversized postcard with a Perl, personalized URL, and variable printing, putting the person's name into the graphics. Nancy, looking for ways to? Great call out, right? Notice the consistency between the ad and the mailer. Then, because you have your own email lists, and if you're doing the email blast through the show, personalized emails, putting a HTML masthead, stretch it, booth number, integrating the Perl into the email. In this example, we're doing a 2-part email. Finally, setting up a landing page or a microsite. When they click, it's got a teaser video. It's got a quick 5-question needs assessment. It's got the ability for the person to set an appointment. And when they leave the site, it will automatically Okay, step number 8, I just saw on the screen, we had an issue with the audio going out where we were going through measurement here. Remember, we talked about tracking your media. When did you send it? How many did you use? What was the cost? How many impressions or traceable responses? What worked? What did you learn? And then how can you use the best parts of this campaign for the next show? So I'm going to open the question queue. And remember, those of you that are logging off right now, be sure to complete the survey so you have a chance to win that $2,500 targeted attendee email blast. While I'm looking in the question queue, I'm going to toss it back to Alec and Kathleen for any closing thoughts on anything we've talked about here today. Alec, any thoughts for exhibitors that are still with us here?
Well, I don't really think there's anything else I'd like to add, outside just saying if any of our exhibitors need any help, or they can always call us or send us an email. We're always happy to answer questions and to give them their free marketing materials. So if they need the invitations, if they need any help with claiming and editing their listing, or if they have any questions about how they can better use their marketing tools that they have paid for, they can ask us questions, and we can hopefully give them some more ideas that can be useful in the future. That's all I'd probably like to say.
All right. Thank you, Alec. Kathleen, any closing thoughts on your end?
Sure. I'll just add that, yeah, I'm here too. Anytime anyone would like to chat about, if you have any kind of budget at all to spend on more marketing at the show, it could be very, very minimal to a larger amount. We can definitely meet, figure out great resources and things that will meet your needs. So I am here to chat with anybody who would like to discuss that at any time.
All right, thank you. So we got a few questions in here. I think the first few are in my wheelhouse. I'll take them. The first question is, how far in advance of the show should I start my promotion campaign? Well, two ideas here. Number one, the type of media that you're going to use will drive that. For example, if you're going to use trade publications, you're going to want to start getting content in those publications about 3 months before showtime, taking a 3-2-1 approach. If you're going to lean more on direct marketing, email, mail, social media, phone, you want to start in that 45-day in advance of the show window. And ideally, you'll have those 3 touches where you'll have 45 days, touch 1, 30 days, touch 2, 5 to 10 days, touch 3. So the farther, the media determines how far out. The one-to-many media start earlier. The one-to-one media start at about the 45-day window. The second question I've got is on using giveaways and promotional products. Do they help? If they're used smartly, who really needs another cheap pen, right? Not too many people. So if you're going to use promotional products, here's my thoughts. Number one, make it the secondary reason for response, not the primary. I don't want them at my booth because they want something free. I want them at my booth because they got a problem I can help them solve or an opportunity I can help them seize. Thought one. Thought two, make the promotional product unique, useful, and high quality. Okay? Don't give away the same thing everyone else is. Think about what they do in their day-to-day operations, and if you can give them something that they can use, it'll stay with them, increasing the top of the mind awareness. And another strategy, if you have the ability to personalize promotional products, man, the response rate to those could be 50, 70, 80%. And be sure to promote what your giveaway is in your content. Okay, Kathleen, we had a question for you on what was it called, the fun zone? What was it? They wanted a little more detail on the fun. Back a few slides ago. Let me bring it up. Fun on the floor. They wanted to hear a little bit more about what that program is. Okay, I'm not seeing where Kathleen has the audio. We'll follow up afterwards. So we are past the buzzer. I want to thank everybody for logging in, taking time out of your day. Hopefully you've grabbed 2 or 3 really good ideas that are going to help you put together a great campaign that's going to help you build your brand and drive traffic. And please remember this, 2 things. It's not what you know that matters. It's what you do that matters. So take action on what you learned. And second, the Exhibitor Success Training Center is live, and it's got all kinds of content on it. So make sure to visit it, share it with everybody on your team, and download and use the content. So on behalf of everyone at Breakbulk Americas and my company here, Competitive Edge, welcome to the show. We can't wait to meet with you at the show. Use what you learned, and you will put yourself into the top 20% of exhibitors. So thanks for logging in, everybody. Have a great day.
Hey, Jefferson, I'm back. Sorry, I got knocked off there. I don't know if I can answer any questions. I hate to.
Yeah, they were asking about the that fun program.
Sure, the fun on the floor.
Yeah, fun on the floor. A little more detail on that.
Sure, it's really anything that you have in your booth that would drive traffic. So if you have, we've had people give away Yeti coolers. We've had a coffee hour. We've had, a beer hour, things like that. Somebody did an Oktoberfest one year in their booth. So what we'll do is get information from you, and then we come up with a graphic, and we will post that on our website, and it will go out through all of our social media outlets, and then any other promotions that we have that are relevant for it, we'll put it on there as well. So it's a really great way that's, not breaking the bank to, it's really for driving traffic to your booth. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your help. That was the final question we had. We're a few minutes behind, so we're going to sign off, everybody. Again, thanks so much. Use what you learned. Put yourself in the mind, on the agenda of enough of the right people. Win the game before kickoff. So thanks for being with us, everybody. We'll see you on our next webinar coming up on Inside the Exhibiting Numbers. We're going to talk about money management and measurement, which is a critical topic, on Wednesday, August 30th. I hope to see you on that webinar. Have a great day, everybody.